If you're anything like me, food spending is one of the biggest categories in your budget. And beyond that, it's one of the hardest areas to avoid overspending. I mean, you mix hunger with food, and what you have is a recipe for budgeting disaster. Luckily, in this video, I'm going to share some of the strategies that we use to avoid overspending on food every single month. And I really hope they'll help you too. All right, strategy number one is create a weekly meal plan. And I know you've probably heard this time and time again from all sorts of people online, all sorts of friends and family members or whatever, whoever it is. But creating a weekly meal plan is essential if you want to stay within your food spending budget. Just like creating a budget is essential to live within your means, having a plan for what you want to eat, having a plan for what you need to buy from the grocery store, and having a plan for what kind of restaurants or how much dining out you're going to do every single week is essential if you want to stay in your budget. So starting off, create a weekly meal plan. I recommend doing it on Sundays, and if possible, go get the groceries and prep your meals. Anytime you can prep a meal in addition to planning for the week, you're really setting yourself up for success when it comes to your food spending, because one, you're planning ahead so you won't be subjecting yourself to that moment where you don't know what to eat, but you're really hungry. So you just go ahead and go spend money on some fast food joint or some other restaurant. So if you can plan your meals, and if you can take it one step further and prep your meals, you're going to have a lot easier time staying within your food budget. All right, number two, and this is something that I don't hear a lot of people talk about, but it's really effective, and that's plan your weekly meals around local sales. So if your local grocery store is having a sale on chicken or beef or something else, I mean, those are two of the biggest staples in my budget, so that's all I can think of right now. But yeah, if you can plan your meals around local sales, let's say you have 3 meals that are chicken meals throughout the week because chicken is on sale, then you can save a significant amount of money every single week and throughout the month and throughout the year on groceries, just because you're capitalizing on items at the grocery store that are cheaper. So plan your meals around local sales and you'll save a lot more money on food. All right, number 3, and this is something that took me a while to kind of come to terms with, and it's order groceries online. This is a phenomenal option for all of you people trying to stay within a food budget, because basically eliminates the risk of you spending money on food that you don't actually need just because you walked into the grocery store on an empty stomach, which is something we're going to talk about in a little bit. But yeah, if you just pull up to a grocery store and they load the groceries in your car and you drive away, one, you're not smelling all of the wonderful smells in a grocery store like the bakery, which is one of my biggest problem areas. But 2, you also have the added benefit of shopping for groceries online and watching the exact cost as you're shopping for groceries. So if you need to make an on-the-fly adjustment to your grocery list or to your weekly meal plan, you can do so. Because if you have, let's say you're planning to spend $100 on your grocery trip and one of your meals costs a little bit too much, then you can adjust that, throw that meal out, and add something in that makes it fit within that $100. It's just way easier when you order groceries online than when you're shopping in store, because you get a very clear picture of how much you're going to spend. And also you have the added benefit of not buying things that you don't need just because you're hungry. All right, number 4, don't buy everything in bulk. I am a huge fan of having a wholesale store membership. One, because the gas prices are just ridiculously lower than everywhere else. So if you don't have a wholesale store membership, I recommend it for that purpose. But when it comes to saving money on food, buying things in bulk is not always the best option. Yes, there are certain things that maybe you can buy in bulk and save over the course of time. Things like, to go back to my previous example, just because I'm really familiar with it, is like chicken. You can buy chicken or something from a wholesale store and freeze a lot of it just because you're not going to eat all that chicken in one meal. So there are things that do make sense to buy in bulk, but there's no reason you need to go buy a 10-gallon vat of mayonnaise. Nobody needs that. That's bad for your health. That's bad for everybody. I don't know why they're selling these massive things of mayonnaise at these, wholesale stores, but just things like that. Obviously I'm joking around here, but you don't need to buy everything in bulk. Try to avoid the mindset that by buying a lot more of something at a lower per unit cost, it's actually saving you money, because if you don't actually use all that stuff, or if it doesn't fit in your monthly budget, if you're overspending just to save on next month's budget, don't do that. Focus on this month's budget, stay within your weekly budget for food, and don't buy everything in bulk. It just doesn't make sense in most cases. All right, number 5, you'll hear people say don't go to the store on an empty stomach, but I highly recommend taking it a step further. If you're not ordering groceries online, be intentional about planning your grocery store trips or going to the grocery store directly after you eat a big meal. And in general, I recommend going after dinner or right after breakfast. If you wake up really early and you eat breakfast, go right after breakfast, because one, those are two times that there's not a lot of people in the store, so you can get in, you can get out really quick. And two, those are two of the biggest meals of the day, right? Sometimes we kind of skip lunch, and if you're going on your lunch break, you might still be a little hungry. So I recommend just being really intentional about eating a meal before you go to the store. Don't just try to go to the store, on a full stomach. Be intentional, go immediately after a meal. All right, and so this is kind of a bonus tip. I know I said 5 at the beginning of the video, but this is, you can consider this the bonus tip, because if you're really struggling with budget, then this is what I like to call bringing down the hammer on your food spending. And that's buying all of your groceries and spending all of the money that you spend on food, paying cash. Pay cash for everything. If you buy food with cash, you will not go over your budget. It's very difficult to go over your budget. One, because you can just bring the exact amount of money that you have available for that grocery trip, or you have budgeted for your grocery trip. You can just bring it in an envelope, and it forces you to stay within your budget. Leave your debit card and your credit cards at home. Just bring cash. And if you go to a restaurant, just bring cash. It'll force you to really assess what you can afford as opposed to just what you're hungry for. So that's the way to bring down the hammer on your food spending. I hope these tips will help you in your food spending. They really have helped my wife and I stay within budget when it comes to food in our life. But if you like this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button, or even better, watch a couple of the videos that you see on the screen here, and hit that like button, and we'll see you in the next video.